Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and with Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker coming out here in like 2 months. It's so close. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumor, a lot of theory, a lot of things that are going to be said. Trailers to drop. However, this one is interesting. Apparently, Daisy Ridley says that the movie will address Reylo. Now, if you don't know what Reylo is, if you're not a denizen of Tumblr or DeviantArt, or you're not part of the weird part of Star Wars fandom, that's where you ship people together. You ship the characters. In fact, this is an example of the two of them, in weird embraces, where apparently like they do some weird stuff there. But this gives you an idea, however creepy it might be. I just typed in Reylo, and this image popped up. I wanted to scar you. But that being said, that's what's going on. That's what it is. It's when you ship the characters together. Okay, and people really, really, really want Rey and Kylo to get together. Some people do. I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest with you. But let's find out. So this December, Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker will close the book on 42-year story of Star Wars films comprising the Skywalker saga. However, some fans out there only care about the rise of Rey and won't they relationship with the bad boy of the Force, Kylo Ren. Though through the final trilogy in the Skywalker saga may have launched 1,000 fanfics, the final film is set to put those questions to rest. Maybe. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, just because I sort of know what's going on, I think it will be really interesting to see people's reactions to the final film. Obviously, there's the whole Reylo thing, and some people are very passionate about that. Some aren't. JJ does deal with it, and it's a very complex issue. People talk about toxic relationships and whatever it is. It's no joke, and I think it's dealt with really well because it's not skimmed over. And that's going to give Reylo fans like Mar. If you haven't looked up Mar on Twitter, I have a video about it. Really crazy stuff. But anyway, people who are pro Reylo are going to like this. I don't think the rest of us really care. Right? I don't think the rest of us are really going to give much of a crap about this because it hasn't necessarily been something that I've put any value into. So in the first movie, they set up a love triangle, right? Finn, Rey, Kylo. They did. That was a love triangle very similar to, Luke, Han, and Leia from A New Hope. And then, throughout the course of the next couple films, that changed. That dynamic changed a bit, right? Especially with Empire Strikes Back. But Rian Johnson upped the tension by putting in the Force connection scenes, which, look, I will fully admit, I felt those were actually pretty decent scenes. I felt those are good scenes. I felt those actually had a lot of tension between the two actors, and I thought they really played well together, and I thought it was building to this kind of moment. And then, of course, the throne room scene happens, and then, she ends up leaving, and obviously, it's just, that whole scene... Just a quick side note, that whole scene was completely ripped off from Empire and ripped off from Return of the Jedi. And it was like, oh my God. People complain about JJ Abrams copying and pasting A New Hope into The Force Awakens, but like no one said anything about Rian Johnson doing the same thing, essentially. But for Empire and Return of the Jedi in The Last Jedi. No one really said that, which I thought was kind of weird. Anyway. But yeah, that scene was straight lifted. But at the end of the movie, though, we were no longer in a love triangle. We were in like a triforce of love is the best way I could put it, right? Like imagine Zelda's Triforce and the point in the center. If there's no point in the center, but imagine a point in the center of this thing. My analogy is terrible, but it's the center is Rey, right? The center is Rey, and you have Rey, Finn, Poe. Because they set Poe up at the end too, because Rose Tico had entered into the mix. So Rey, Finn, Poe, Rey, Finn, Kylo, Rey, Kylo, Poe. And obviously Rose Tico's in there somewhere, but like no one really cares about that. She's barely even in like none of the marketing. She has like one toy, two toys maybe. She's barely going to be in the movie. They only put her in because I think they wanted just to like smite the trolls. But anyway. That's kind of what's happening here. The Reylo thing is probably going to bring in a lot of fangirls, a lot from that side of the fandom. And that could potentially be a bit of a marketing tool because diehard Star Wars fans who are mad at The Last Jedi don't care about Reylo. They don't like the concept of it, right? Good versus evil. It's not like the will they won't they. They're not Ross and Rachel from Friends, for Christ's sake. But the younger girls that are into that sort of thing, they could end up being a really big box office pull, especially if it's handled in a way that's considered good. If it's handled in a way that's considered well, it's possible that this could be, something that people really go to. But I don't know if I don't really care about that. I mean, like, this is the end of the Skywalker saga. This isn't the end of like a season-long will they won't they romance between a couple characters, But it's so confusing at the end of The Last Jedi. Especially because you introduce Rose and there's that whole dumb line about we fight for what we love by saving what we love and whatever. And then, then they're on the Millennium Falcon, right? And like Rey looks at them and she's kind of like looking at Finn like, oh, and then here comes Poe like, yo, what up, girl? And it's like, wait, what? Are you shifting into a third love triangle? Because that's essentially what they were doing. Even though Poe Dameron is like, I don't know, a solid 20 years older, None of that really matters considering that Harrison Ford was 20 years older, roughly, than Carrie Fisher. And they had an in real life boink fest on the set of Empire Strikes Back. So, there's some stuff there. I don't care about Reylo being addressed. If it's done in a way that's like tasteful and interesting and good and great and grand and it tells a good story, that's all I care about. There's not enough tension there over this movie. The thing is, The Last Jedi just destroyed all tension. Like, where do you go at the end of that? You're going to pick up a couple years down the road. We're not going to have any of that, like, perceived tension unless they've been communicating that whole time, which would make, like, no sense. If they've still been forced connecting to one another, given everything that's happened, it would just be like, really? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It should have always been Finn, Kylo, and Poe. And I think Daisy, not Poe, right, sorry. Finn and Poe is a whole other ship. But they did, there was a line by Daisy Ridley that I thought was interesting. And I think it might tie in more to the grander narrative. And she said that this, in the last movie, in The Last Jedi, they all were apart from each other. But in this movie, they're all together a lot of the time. So then we could be seeing maybe a bit of that, like, back and forth, especially if Rose isn't there. But then you've got is that Lando's daughter that's going to be in it? And Lando's daughter could be, all the photos are of her with Finn setting up a love interest there. So it's like another triangle. Is it going to be, did Rose and Finn, they stay together? Did they break up? And then you get this new girl in? I mean, like, I don't even know. But man, it's going to be interesting to find out. The internet's going to explode one way or the other. But here's the deal. I'm still excited to see the movie. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be pretty fascinating. It's going to be a conclusion one way or the other. And I am going in very optimistic. If my hopes and my dreams are shattered once again, that will very seriously dampen any further support for Star Wars. I really hope it's not the case. But at the end of the day, I'm more concerned about a good movie than damn Reylo. But I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. Let me know down in the comments below. I look forward to them. Please thumbs up the video if you guys made it this far. Also type in Reylo in the chat so I know that you guys made it. Have yourself a great day, guys. Thank you again for watching. It means the world to me. And peace.